Paradox of Sports, POS Fireside Chat. We're excited to have with us. We have a guest tonight. She is the head coach of the state champion McClave High School Lady Cardinals, Melissa Steinbrunn. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to chat with you.
Cool. So before we get into the weeds, I have a question. I got my notes. I don't want to mess anything up. You are good at painting pictures with words. So I want to know, I have never been to a state volleyball tournament. So someone that hasn't been there and experienced it in person, what is that weekend like from the athletes and coaches standpoint and from a spectator standpoint? What's that whole event entail?
I mean, it's an environment of adrenaline. It can be completely and totally overwhelming if you're not ready for it, but it can be exhilarating if you are. So, I mean, whether you're a fan or a player or a coach, it really feels all the same. And it doesn't matter if your team is playing or someone else in a different classification, you just jump right into the environment and enjoy the moment because it's some of the best volleyball that you will see all year long in those arenas. And I mean, it's just such a fun time, such a fun time.
So from watching it, this is what I saw and felt. So Thursday morning, they bring everybody out. I think 8 o'clock is that first start time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They blow the whistle. Those first serves go, and then it's just chaos.
Chaos.
For 3 days.
Yes. And you just have to be watching the scores up on the big Jumbotron to make sure that you're ready for your next game. There's a huge court back behind where there's the warm-up area. So you're all warming up with 1A, 2A, 5A. It doesn't matter. Whoever's over there, you're just warming up together on this big just mat, really, like this big floor, waiting to go on, waiting for your moment to do something great. And you know, it's exciting, but it's chaos. And, you know, you spend a solid week just throwing as much noise at the girls as you can. We've got music blaring and whistles going off in practices just to get them ready for that overstimulation and so much noise that it doesn't bother them. And like I said, some teams adapt really well and they jump right into it and are pros at it. And others just, it's too much for sure.
Okay. That feeds into my next question. I didn't even think about the preparation from the stamp. The whistles are one thing that's crazy because obviously a whistle's indication to stop. So you have that going on at all the other places. So that's preparations, you know. So okay, so let's go back to Wednesday night. So Wednesday night, you guys traveled to Denver on Wednesday?
We did, and we stopped in Strasburg and had a little mini practice just to get a ball in our hands and go through our typical type of practice routines just to keep in the groove of things, keep in the right mindset that we needed to. And then we took them out to eat and put them to bed. I mean, we had a 9:30 morning, so we had to be ready to go.
So that drive between Strasburg and Denver, when you get to the hotel Wednesday night, be honest, where are you confident wise, expectation wise? Like, what are you thinking on that drive of what's the next 72 hours are like?
You know, we didn't want to overshoot anything. We went into this one game at a time. So we weren't worried about the rest of the bracket or who comes next or anything like that. Our mindset was Weldon Valley. That's what we got to take care of. And then we can go to the next. Each of my girls, you know, they have their binder that they get at the beginning of the season with all of our things, our defenses, our offensive plays, all of that, our mindsets, training, all of that kind of stuff. But then on, you know, that Wednesday, they get their state packet and it's the stats of every team that will be at that state tournament that we could possibly see. And one side is everybody else and the other side is just the one team we're playing. And that's the only team we needed to worry about. And so that was the mindset. We've got to take care of one at a time. And it was good. It was good.
Okay, so let's talk to coach right now. If I tell you Wednesday night, that Saturday night you're going to go to the third set with Marino with a chance to sweep them for the title. Do you tell me I'm full of shit, or like what would you like? Is that in the back of your mind that you do this, or how did that? Like, where were you?
I mean, I had full belief in our girls. I mean, our team in general knew that we had the potential to do it. We had prepared for that. We, in a lot of different ways, whether it was the mental toughness training, or if it was the skill training or the team bonding training, like we knew that we were capable. We just needed to get it done. And, you know, I had a hope and a belief that we could, but I knew that it was going to be a big climb. Did I think that we could possibly sweep them? That would have been like amazing. I thought, you know, it's going to go 5. It's going to be a battle if we're going to pull this off. But I also knew that in the long run, we were going to look possibly at a Fleming semifinal. Like I knew that that was possibly in our future, and that wasn't going to be some easy hill. So, you know, did I think we could do it? Yes. Did I think 100% it's in the bag? No. I mean, it's Marino. They're an amazing team. They're a dynasty. So, you know, I was definitely hopeful, but I was realistic that we were up for a big battle, a big challenge.
Okay, so let's get into the games. And this is, again, no volleyball in my background. None of the daughters. I've been to state tennis, state hockey, some cool things. Volleyball's not my thing, but I've watched a lot of sports. I still think maybe the most important or the biggest things you did, you took 2 timeouts in that first game against Weldon. In this, I think it was the second set, where you guys were up maybe 5 and they got close, and then you did it again. So I was curious, when you take the timeouts, and that obviously momentum is changing and stuff, you're not going over X's and O's with the girls right there. You're just,
No.
you need to give them a breather for a second and just let's calm it all down.
Right. And I'm very stingy with my timeouts. You only get 2. And, you know, I don't want to just waste them and throw them out there. Well, you'll see me sometimes on the side of the bench talking to my assistant coach, and we're like, we'll give them one more point, and then we have to call it, you know, because a lot of times the girls, if you give them a little bit of time, they can battle out of it on their own. But if I see that, you know, they need a water break, like long rallies, and they just need a break to regroup and get drink, I'll use it. Or if we need to stop a server, we need to stop a run, that kind of stuff, and just shift that momentum a little bit to our side, then I'll call them. And, you know, you'll see me at point 20 still have 2 timeouts, because if it comes crunch time, I want to be able to give my girls a moment to breathe and regroup and refocus on what our task is. And so, yeah, I don't normally do the X's and O's unless we're messing up and we need to, like, hey, I need 2 blockers going up, or you're not shifting in the defense, or this is who are my attackers right now? These are the 2 that I want, or this is the one I want hitting, or this is what we're going to do. We did a couple of the, you know, play changes in some of those timeouts where, you know, if I had Ash and Abry in the front row, we'll run a combo play where one runs up in front and the other run behind and hit the ball. Like, we'll call those out of those serve receive situations. So, you know, a couple times that kind of stuff, but for the most part, it's just injecting some energy back into them sometimes.
Gotcha. And that's it. The beautiful part of watching sports is, I guess it depends which side you're cheering on, but when you see momentum changing, it's either awesome or terrifying, depending on which side of the scoreboard that you're cheering for.
Because in volleyball, it's not 1 point. You know, if somebody's going on a run, you're looking at 4, 5, 6 points, and that can be devastating to a game. So, I mean, you got to try and figure out a way to stop those kinds of runs from happening. And I mean, you're right. Those timeouts, you're not going to fix any technique. You're not fixing anything in that game. Whatever you know, the hay's in the barn, I guess people have said before, like, every bit of preparation and a practice is what you're seeing out on the floor, and you're not going to fix it there. Whatever you did is what you did.
Gotcha. Okay. So we get through Weldon Valley, you sweep Otis, you get swept by Marino. And this is, so this now it's Friday night.
Right.
So what's the mood like? You get the girls back to the hotel. I assume do you go to the hotel, shower, go out and eat, or what did Friday night look like for you guys?
So I don't like to take the girls out to eat usually during the tournament. It's late. They're tired. They need
Yeah.
to recoup so we usually order to go and bring the food back into the hotel and we'll watch film. So that's what we did that night. We ordered food, we brought it back, and we watched Stratton film to get ready. And the thing about that night is, I mean, the girls' recovery. When we went in, we had a different kind of mindset going into that initial Marino game. We did not look at it as we need to win this game. In fact, we almost didn't want to win that game. And I'll never tell this. I never would have.
If when you build strategy to win a tournament, that's yes. I don't want to spoil the story, but that you don't want them hungry Saturday. So
exactly.
Amen.
Exactly. So we went in there and basically what I told the girls is your job is not to win. Your job is to make them uncomfortable. You need to, and I mean, it's not saying we threw a game. Like they play hard. I mean, of course they want to win. We all want to win, but we knew that it was going to be challenging and it was basically a dress rehearsal. That's what we were calling it, was a dress rehearsal. Everybody else got their first go at Marino. This is our first go to learn about this team, figure out their tendencies, what doesn't work with us, what are we going to have to change when we see them again, because our plan was we wanted to see them again. So we didn't want to do well enough necessarily to give Marino that fire to want to have this revenge match against us in the championship. We wanted them to be maybe a little overconfident coming to see us again because they beat us, but we wanted them to be uncomfortable to where put that seed of doubt a little bit in their head. They're like, ooh, somebody maybe is going to come after us. And so, I mean, yeah, that game wasn't great. We lost. But what I loved about it was that each set, they got a little bit closer to taking one from them. They got a little bit better at figuring out what was going to work against Marino. So when we went back to that hotel, nobody hung heads. Nobody was upset. We recovered and like, okay, great. We learned a lot of great stuff that we can use in the next match against them because we got to go take care of Stratton and we got to go take care of Fleming and then we can have another go at them. And so I think they did what we needed them to do. A win, okay, that would have been great too. One less game we would have had to play on Saturday because they played 12 sets and that's really tough. So, I mean, that would have been fabulous too. But I was totally okay. I would have taken that loss. Not a big deal to us. And they recovered well and we prepared for Stratton and it went well.
Did the girls know Friday night, like ahead of them, you're going to play 3 games tomorrow? Like, was that talked about of like, this is what we got to do? And that, I mean, you just mentioned it. That's a lot of volleyball in a day.
It really is. It really truly is. And of all the games, the one that we knew we absolutely couldn't lose was the Otis game. That was the one that we didn't tell the girls ahead of time because I knew they weren't going to look at their brackets. But then we didn't tell them ahead of time.
No, there was a couple of them. The girls might not have looked at them, but their dads were talking to them.
Oh, I bet you their dads did.
Yeah.
But if they had lost that game, they were looking at an 8:00 game followed by a 5:00 game followed by an 8:00 game. Like that's what their path would have looked like with much harder teams. And so we didn't tell them that because we didn't want to freak them out, but we just stressed upon them that Otis game was very, very important to win so that we could get ourselves in a good path to give ourselves the best opportunity to get to the championship. They really, really wanted to see Stratton again. Stratton had beat us early in the season at the Akron tournament. And I mean, they're a great team. They're a great team, but my team doesn't like to lose to people. And when they do, they want a chance at redemption. And that's what they saw in this tournament. They kept calling it the Revenge Tour 2024 because Weldon Valley took a set from us and they wanted to wipe that clean. Otis beat us. They wanted to wipe that one. Stratton beat us. They wanted to wipe that one. So, I mean, they saw these opportunities to redeem themselves because they felt like they had grown as a team. They had grown as competitors and they wanted another crack at all of them.
So you sweep Stratton first thing. Then Fleming, you're down 2
Fleming.
sets. Is there, I mean, after that second set, did you think, damn it, like they're spent, they're nothing, like, was there, it would be easy for doubt to creep in right there, but, and you have like 60 seconds from that
Right.
second set whistle to the first set of the first serve of the third set. So was that just all on the girls, or like what happens in that 60 seconds?
So, they come back to the bench in between the games and we sit down and we're like, look, you guys are playing scared right now. You're playing scared to lose. And we're at that point in the season where playing scared doesn't win anything. All it gets you is a bus trip back home. I said, you are a much better team than what you are playing right now because you're scared to lose. So we need to decide as a group, you need to commit to that decision to give everything that you have right now in this, because that's really what it is. You're prepared. You're a great team. You have lots of skill. You need to decide what the outcome of this game will look like, because you have that power right now. You can, there's going to be pain in a match. You just have to decide whether it's the pain of the moment or the pain of regret. So, make that decision now. And whatever it was clicked, and they were fired up and went back out there and did it. And Fleming is, their block is huge. They've got some tall girls that it was hard to get around, and their little libero just picked up everything. And their one of their setters is an amazing server that she would just go on runs with us. It was a very challenging team. But when those girls made that decision that we are not going home yet, this might be the hardest thing right now, but we're going to battle for it. We're not going to give you anything. We're going to make you earn anything you take from us. When they made that decision, it caught Fleming off guard, and they ended up crumbling, which, thanks. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It helped us out a little bit.
No, yeah, dude, it was like, dude, Saturday, I had a blast Saturday. I don't have enough TVs downstairs, which we're talking to boss lady. We need to add 2 more. But so you get done. So the semis, what do you have, like 90 minutes till the finals?
Yeah,
Maybe
something
2
like that.
hours?
It wasn't a whole lot of time.
Okay, so is there a strategy talk before Marino? Do the girls kind of know, or like what happens during that 90-minute break? Did you guys change uniforms before the games in between?
They like to change because they get so sweaty and
so
uncomfortable.
do they get a shower, or do they just change?
Oh no, they just change their
do
top.
The volleyball, so does the bus smell as bad as it does, like I know you haven't been around hockey, like is there a stench that comes along with that?
Well, sometimes, yeah.
Gotcha.
But they're pretty good at the body spray.
Yeah, no, and yes, and that happens. So you get a change, and then do you get a spot where you get the girls alone and then you go warm up, and then so you have 2 hours. Yeah, you have 2 hours. You get a change. They have to line you up for the Parade of Champions. So, like, what happens in that block?
So, we circle them all up, and I tell them, first of all, take off your shoes, cut off your tape. We're going to retape and all those things in between games. Go celebrate with your parents. They're up top. They want to see you and give you a big hug because what you just did was amazing. So you should go share this moment with them and come back down. And I told them they needed a refuel. They just spent a lot of calories, a lot of their energy. And the last thing we need is their bodies giving out on them against Marino in a championship. We want to give them the best opportunity we can. And so their bodies need to at least be prepared for it. So I told them they needed a refuel. They had to eat something. They had to drink water and do electrolytes. I made them all drink Pedialyte because I didn't want any cramping going on, none of that kind of stuff. And then I told them to just relax for a little bit. Just relax. Enjoy the moment, sit together, and chill. There's no pressure. We're not the ones with the reputation. No one thought that we would even be there. So they just need to chill out for a little bit, take a breather, calm down. And then when we got a little bit closer, then we went and did some of our warm-up stuff. We chatted a little bit about, just that we have nothing to lose. Nobody thought we would be there. So let's just go and enjoy the moment. And that this moment will be the hardest moment that they have ever had in their entire life. The hardest thing they've ever had to do will happen in that hour and a half window. But they can do it. They can do hard things. There's the other side of that tunnel, and they can be there. They just have to stick together. They've done a really good job of this whole season being this collective unit. And as long as they could stay together, they could accomplish it. Why not
So
them?
one of the things that's cool, and I guess you'd say a little jealous of, I have been to a state wrestling tournament. Shout out to Holly and Cheyenne. I stayed at the same hotel with the Holly and Cheyenne Wells wrestling people. That's a story for another time. But one thing that's cool, and in volleyball does the same thing, is that Parade of Champions. Like that 10 minutes right there. So do they gather you? Like you guys are all gathered in a tunnel and everything, and you come out. How cool is that moment?
That is so neat. And I know those girls' hearts were just a pounding.
Oh, it has to be.
I know, it's so neat. It was such an incredible moment for them because, some of them have never even been to the state tournament to be able to see what that is. And, in years past, we lost. So we went home and they didn't get to see it, So to be a part of something that big with these girls that you have basically gone to battle with all season long, it's just, it's a cool, special moment. It's a neat thing. I'm glad they do that.
So I have the answer. This is my answer when I knew you had him, when you had Marino. So you're up 2-0. You drop the third set. What happens there? Same thing. You talk to the girls. It's not a fundamental thing. It's not X's and O's, but what is that conversation like? Like I said at the beginning, if I could tell you, you're going to the third to sweep them. They get one, which they should. They
Right.
played. They also spent a lot of calories. Like they spent a lot of calories in that third. So between the third and the fourth, what are you telling the girls?
Basically that, they're up. They're up right now. We're not the ones on the chase trying to stay in this ball game. We're the ones that need to close it and finish this. We knew that this was going to be a fight. Marino wasn't just going to hand us a sweep and go, oh, this is too hard. No, we knew this was going to be a fight, but we have to maintain that composure, maintain that poise, and just keep playing our kind of volleyball. And where the chips lay, they lay. But we're in this fight, and that we can do this. We can do this. We have no reason to be rattled. We have no reason to feel the pressure because we're in it and we're up right now. Even when in that, I think we got a little behind in that fourth. Like, nothing's lost here. We're fine. They can have a kill or two. That's okay because we're up on them. They're the ones that have to chase us down. And they ran with that. It was good. And I'm thrilled that it went 4 because those girls were just so exhausted. By the end of that fourth set, I mean, they just kept telling me how they couldn't feel their legs. There were moments where they were trying to they were zoning out a little bit because they were just so exhausted. I don't know what the outcome would have been if it had gone 5 because I don't know if their bodies could have withstood it. I don't know if they mentally could have hung in there anymore because they had just put in so much into it. And, there's only so much adrenaline that I can give them. You know what I mean? So I'm thankful that it went 4, that they just closed it and got it done. But I mean, it was an awesome moment for them for sure.
And that's one thing. So I'll go back to my hockey watching. You'll see at the start of a period, third period, it's tight. The first 2 or 3 minutes, the first 2 or 3 shifts, it's bats out of hell. Bam, bam, bam. And all of a sudden you're like, uh-oh, we're spent. And you saw that a little in the fourth. We're just going to send it back over. Then Marino'd fumble it, but they'd send it back over. And then it was you guys, and I might be wrong. I watched a lot of sports this weekend. There was the one point you guys got up. I think you were up 5 points in the fourth. And Jen was sitting next to me, and I was like, they got it. Like it. And then I watched the rest of I stood up for the rest of the time. Dogs were barking, the whole shebang. Was there a point in that fourth set where you were like, holy crap, man, we're going to do it? Like,
point 24.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, you can't let your guard down like we can.
No, because I've seen, and we've done it. We were against High Plains earlier in the season. We were down 24-19, and we came back and won that match at like 28-26. So, I mean, there is no end to a ball game. You know, you can give up several points sitting at 24. You can lose a ball game sitting at 24. So, like, we had a timeout at 23-20, I think is what it was.
Yes.
Or something like that. And, you know, everybody's all jazzed up and excited. And basically I said, you know, we got to settle down though. We have to use this adrenaline in an effective way because this game's not over. There's still 2 more points for us to win. And that's a lot of playing. Those are long rallies. That's a lot of ball game left. So we got to stay focused in on what we got to do because it's not over yet. And, you know, it went several more points. And those rallies, we watched the game as a team tonight. And I mean, there were rallies that went over a minute long. I mean, for volleyball, that's a long time. That's a long time.
Those were happening like in the fourth set. That's what was crazy is those were happening late. And
those girls, both sides were just hanging on. They were hanging on. So, I mean, there was nothing for sure until it was for sure.
Okay, so post victory, encapsulating everything. Did you know how much support you had from like all of Eastern Colorado there Saturday night? Like, were you aware of all the people that had drove up? Like, had you taken a minute to look up and kind of see what had happened?
I knew that we had so many McClave fans. I mean, our community is just amazing. Cardinal country is just one of the best ever. I mean, they are so supportive of these girls. It was like a sea of red up there. I don't know if there were other teams, but I would imagine there were other teams that were supporting us.
Well, I'll tell you this. There were other people from other communities that drove there that couldn't get in when it was starting because Matt and I's phone and our Paradox Facebook Messenger blew up with pictures of people that couldn't get in to watch, and they were pissed. So,
oh no,
there were a lot. They got in by about the 10th point of the first set, but I'm talking Cheyenne Wells people,
that's
people,
amazing.
Eads people, like people that they were going to come watch because you guys made the finals, and
that's amazing.
That's something for some other time. They were pissed they couldn't get in. So that's what's cool on the whole. I don't think there's any better group of sports fans than that Eastern Colorado, Southeastern Colorado group. Like, if one of their teams is there and they're doing good and they can do it, they're going to show up there and support them. And it's not like that everywhere. It's
really not. It's really not. And, you know, volleyball in general has been so dominated by the northern teams for so long that, you know, you're right. When there is a Southern Colorado team that is advancing and doing well, the whole area pulls behind them because it's not necessarily their team, but it's our team. Like, it's everybody. You know, you want to go after those northern teams. And so I love hearing that. That's so awesome. That's amazing. And it's so appreciated because, you know, we want to bring home one for our area of the state because there are so few. And so it's awesome to hear that. I love that.
Okay, couple more. 2 more and I'll let you go. Back to the Fleming game. Down 0-2. You guys are kind of at a point with the program that you have a lot of really good lower the underclassmen, if you will. And what you have 3 or 4 seniors.
That play
Four?
out there right now, we have two seniors.
Yeah, so 2 seniors. Those underclassmen could have been like, shit, we'll get them next year. And they didn't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They fought, and they, like, that speaks a lot, I think, to the character of them young ladies, that would have very easily, hell, Final Four, they got us, but that, I think that speaks a lot to the character of them young ladies, their families, their coaches, their everything. So what's that like for you, looking back on that moment where they did not fold?
I'm just so proud of them because it is easy. It's so easy to give up when things get hard. Oh, Final Four, that's good enough. Like, that's awesome. That's further than a lot of teams get. How exciting. At least we made it to state, but that was never our goal. Our goal was to do something really special as this collective unit. And what I loved about our upperclassmen, which, graduating those seniors is, it's a big hole. They brought so much to our team. It really is, we're going to have to rebuild when we lose them because they meant so much to us. But they provided so much leadership to those little ones. Our freshmen were so poised out there, you would have never known that they were freshmen because they just battled, but they were collectively supportive of each other. They really were sisters going to battle out there. And, in practice, they created, those upperclassmen, this environment where it was okay to make mistakes. It was okay to be uncomfortable because that's how you get better. That, we offer each other feedback. Nobody's criticizing anybody else. We're all just trying to get better together as a whole team. They really figured out how to put the team first philosophy into action. And, they've got great support systems. They've got a great community, great families that have raised just wonderful girls. They're not just great competitors. These are, awesome human beings that take care of each other. They really, truly take care of each other. And it's amazing to see, not just out on the floor, but in everyday walk of life. They are caring and taking care of each other. If they need something, they make sure they have it. It's wonderful. It's really wonderful to be a part of. And it's, it's that team culture that, I hope that it's not the championships or the wins or anything like that they remember. I hope it's their, togetherness as a team, how they felt being teammates in this situation, that I hope that they remember.
Okay, last thing, I'll let you have. This went way longer than I wanted to keep. But so
Okay.
I don't want to talk to Coach Melissa. I want to talk to Mama Melissa now. It's hard enough as the head coach managing what you had to manage this weekend, but you're a mother. And from the way that Corey and April were talking, your little girl was unwell. So
Yeah.
how do you like, that's hard. Like, I've seen it. Like, it's hard. I watched Jen with the girls a couple times in hockey, and it's just like, how did you manage that and go through it? Because she doesn't feel good, but
I know.
also you're like, we need you.
We need you.
So what, like, looking back on it, how cool is that as a mom to kind of see what she navigated? I will say this, I'd have to go rewatch the Moreno game. I don't think they mentioned it once Saturday night. Like, she showed no sign. She was a soldier. So
yeah, she hung in there.
As Mama Melissa, how proud are you of what she did Saturday night?
She played lights out. She really did. And the poor child, like, she had strep throat. I'm pretty sure she had COVID. She tested negative, but like
Wow, it's
she had
50-50 on those
antibiotics,
strips.
she had
Yeah.
steroids, like, she had all the things. We're pumping her with emergency and all the things to try and make her feel better. She had no voice at all during the Friday game. Like, you just knew she didn't feel good. But, at the same time, like, she's a competitor and she doesn't want to let her team down. And so it doesn't matter if she doesn't feel good. She's going to give whatever 110% looks like, she's giving it to them. And it may go like this a little bit, but she wants to win so bad, and she doesn't want to let her teammates down, and she, probably doesn't want to let me down either. But I couldn't be more proud of her. Some of those digs that she picked up that night, I mean, they were insane. Marino hit so stinking hard, and Ash was picking them up. I mean, you wouldn't have been able to tell that she was sick that night and all weekend, really. She was sick all weekend. But as a mama, my heart was pretty full. She did a really amazing job, and not just, it's easy to be a bad teammate when you don't feel good. It's easy to have attitude creep in when you don't feel good. And she never let that down. She made mistakes just like anybody else, because that's just part of sports. Mistakes happen, especially in volleyball. But she recovered quickly. She maintained her composure, and that meant more to me than how well she played. That she maintained the teammate that she was supposed to be, that she needs to be out on that floor. That's what was important to me, and I couldn't be more proud of her for that.
Awesome. Okay, well, I appreciate it. One thing. Now you have a whole other. I mean, we got a year before it happens, but the girls, they will have like a new campaign to navigate next year, because you guys just went from hunter to hunted. So it happens, bam, with one win on a Saturday night at the Coliseum in Denver. That's what happens. So we're looking forward to watching. Like, it was, I had a lot of fun. I know a lot of Southeast Colorado sports fans had a lot of fun this weekend with you guys. So that was very cool to watch.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, it was an awesome weekend. And I have to say, like, my assistant coach, Emily Ortiz, is probably the best assistant coach anybody has ever had. I mean, she keeps those girls going and fired up, and, she helps with the X's and O's and all the pieces. And, I'm thankful that she's going to be on board with us again next year, because you're right. We now have the target on our back, but I'm hoping that these girls now have the confidence and the mental toughness, grit, that they know that it's okay to be in that position now. We can prepare for that too. It's just, we're going to prepare a little differently, and that's okay.
Okay, do you guys not take any days off? Like today, your Facebook and Instagram, boom, the basketball schedule's on the Facebook. So like, no days off. Like, do the girls, they don't get a day at school to celebrate? It's just bam, we're back into it.
I know, right? They have their exit interviews tomorrow for volleyball. They get Wednesday off. We're doing a study hall and stuff like that.
Oh, hey, they get Wednesday off. That's good.
They get Wednesday off. Thursday's basketball, and they have a scrimmage, I think, on Tuesday or Wednesday of next week for basketball. So it's like, they're going.
Bam.
They're going.
There you go.
I know.
Cool.
There you go.
Sweet. Melissa, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Awesome.
I love that you are covering the girls. That's amazing.
No, we're trying. I love girls. I'm a girl dad 3 times. I'll do the girls before I'll do the boys any day of the week. So I love girls sports. So you are welcome.
Well,
so thank you again.
Yes. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Uh-huh.
Have a great night.
You too.